Welcome in to Locked On Phillies. The Phils win a stressful game one out in LA against the Dodgers, and they get a break in game two. Wow, things are finally looking up on today's Locked On Phillies.
You are Locked On Phillies, your daily Philadelphia Phillies podcast. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Yes, this is Locked On Phillies. I'm your host, Connor Thomas. Been talking Phillies baseball for years over on 97.5 The Fanatic. Now happy to be with you here as your host of Locked On Phillies. And I want to thank you for making Locked On Phillies your first listen every day. We're free and available wherever you get your podcasts. Now, last night, a late night game, if you didn't stay up for it, well, you missed a stressful one. And we got issues with the way that Joe Girardi handled the bullpen. We'll get to that. But just from an overview, well, the Phillies win 9-7 to put up 9 runs on the Los Angeles Dodgers with that pitching rotation that they trot out and a strong bullpen and everything that they've got out there. Well, that's a feat in and of itself. But to do it and to win a series opener against them, well, it's a great sign for the Philadelphia Phillies. Let's talk through the run scoring and how exactly it happened as we get into the breakdown of last night's contest. Well, first off, top of the first, it was announced yesterday, we'll get into this a little bit, Bryce Harper has a partially torn UCL in his throwing arm, in his right arm. Well, okay, as someone who's had a partially torn UCL in his throwing arm, I understand exactly what it is. So let me talk you through it a little bit. This is something that, lucky for me, lucky or unlucky, I've experienced this exact injury. So what he's feeling is right out here, right in this little soft spot in the elbow, kind of where the top of your elbow bone, that bony part right there, connects to your tricep muscle. You have the UCL, the ulnar collateral ligament. When it's fully torn, well, that's what requires Tommy John. And that's because the stress from following through like that, stresses that. It pulls it tight. Well, you can have a partial tear of the UCL, which is essentially similar to a tendonitis of the elbow, where the only way to fix it is by resting it and letting it heal up. It's a minor enough tear that Bryce should be able to come back just by resting it and doing some rehab. That's what I did. I tore it twice partially. I had to do rehab for like a month in the summer. I don't know how long it'll take him. I'm sure he's going to get a little bit of better rehab than I did playing Division III baseball. But what it is you just get your fingers get a little tingly, you feel a little numb, and you feel a twinge of pain when you extend the elbow, which is the throwing motion. When you fully extend it, that's when you start to feel the twinge of pain. I even just felt a little bit right there because for me, I've messed up my elbow enough it still bothers me. That's what Bryce is dealing with. But the good news is the swing, you don't ever really fully extend your elbow on the swing. Only at the end, and that's past contact. You can kind of cut that off a little bit. So you look, it's boom, there. You're not really extending that back elbow. And I know he's lefty. The front one, not really fully extending that either through contact. And the other thing, pitching is a non-resistant motion, meaning that there's no alternate force. There's not as much weight. A baseball, got one right here, a baseball is light. So when you throw, it's easier to fully extend your arm. When you're swinging a bat, it's more counterweight, so it makes it harder to overextend your elbow, which is why he can still hit. That's just the general knowledge that I have from going through that injury. I say all that to say, well, I guess he looks fine because he had a 400-foot home run out to right field in the first inning after it was announced he was dealing with that partial tear in his UCL. So Bryce looking good at the dish in this one. In the top of the second, Kyle Schwarber had an RBI single to left after Gene Segura made a great play swiping third. And then Johan Camargo ripped a homer down the left field line to make it 4-0 Phillies in just the second inning. What a great start. Now, Cody Bellinger got one off of Zach Wheeler in the third inning. He had a nuke to right field. That ball it wasn't way out, but it was kind of like a no-doubter off the bat. He hit it well. But then the Phillies in the fourth inning had Johan Camargo pop out to second, and it was deep second. And I believe Max Muncy was the one who fielded it. Well, he kind of flat-footed, and Gene Segura was able to tag up from third base and score on a lackluster throw home. JT Realmuto moved up to second, and put a little bit of pressure on him as well. And then Bryce Harper doubled the left in the top of the fifth. Alec Boehm scored on that one. Now the Phillies are up 6-1. And then in the top of the sixth, well, Kyle Schwarber sacrificed fly to right. JT Realmuto scores easily. And the Phillies have a 7-1 lead. And if we've learned anything about the Philadelphia Phillies so far this year, it's that they don't blow 7-1 leads. About that. Well, as we know, they've already done that once, and they did their best to do it again in this one. Will Smith doubled in the bottom of the sixth inning. Mac Muncy scored. Trey Turner scored, making it 7-3. And then in the bottom of the eighth, against Jose Alvarado, all hell broke loose. The bases got loaded. Will Smith had an RBI single, scoring Freddie Freeman. Justin Turner doubled to left, scoring Trey Turner, no relation, and Max Muncy as well. And then Will Smith moved up to third. And then Taylor singled to left, scoring Will Smith, moving Justin Turner to third, and tying it up at 7-7. Four runs in the bottom of the eighth, holding 4 runs, and all of a sudden you're tied going into the ninth. And it felt like, dude, here we go again. Are they really going to blow another late 6-run lead this time in the eighth, as opposed to, well, they didn't have a 6-run lead in the eighth. They only had a 4-run lead, but they had a 6-run lead at a point in this game. Are they really going to blow it again? Well, Odubel Herrera scored on a wild pitch after the Phillies loaded the bases in the top of the ninth, and then Bryce Harper sacrificed fly to deep right field, scored Rhys Hoskins, making it 9-7 Phillies. That bounce back, that fight, that was like we've been here before. We're not going to let what happened last time happen again. And the Phillies were able to work out of a jam, score 2 runs in the top of the ninth, and then Corey Knebel came in and shut it down, even though he loaded the bases in the bottom of the ninth. This Dodgers team is talented enough. They're not going to go down without a fight. But the Phillies took care of business, and they ended up winning. Let's go ahead and look at the box score and see who we have most to thank for this win. Let's start with Los Angeles to see who really hurt the Philadelphia Phillies. Well, Trey Turner was 3 for 4. Kind of understandable because he's a guy who's been in the NL East for years prior to going out to Los Angeles at the trade deadline last year. He's familiar with this team. Will Smith was 3 for 4. A strong day for the catcher there. And Chris Taylor was 2 for 5 out there from left field. Cody Bellinger with a homer for the Dodgers. So not a bad day at the plate for Los Angeles. They ended up having the same number of hits as the Phillies, 12 for them. They did commit an error in the game. But the Phil's 12 hits, well, they came with just a couple more RBIs. Rhys Hoskins was only 1 for 5. He's still struggling at the dish, but he'll figure it out. Alec Boehm, 1 for 4, still batting above 300. Bryce Harper was 2 for 4, 3 RBIs. A huge day for Bryce Harper at the dish, now batting 276. Gene Segura was 2 for 4. He extends that hit streak to 10 games. JT Realmuto also 2 for 4. His average is going up. Kyle Schwarber was 1 for 3, but he had a nice 2 RBIs on that one hit. And then Johan Camargo continues to be an important part of this team. He's cooled off, but he's still important to what this team is trying to do offensively and defensively, for that matter. He's been solid at shortstop. He went 1 for 4, but had 3 RBIs. So he had the home run, and then he had the other one where he did not get on, but he was credited with an RBI as the Philadelphia Phillies circled the bases on a wild pitch. So it was just good work by the entirety of the Phillies offensive lineup. And honestly, not a bad start from Zach Wheeler. He went 5 1/3 innings pitched. He gave up 6 hits. He gave up 3 runs. But you can handle that against the Dodgers. He struck out 7, and he put you in a position to win, especially when you got up early. Tyler Anderson for the Dodgers gave up 7 runs, 7 earned. So that was the big issue for them. And then Jose Alvarado having 4 runs and 4 earned. Well, here's where that basically stands. You could tell that Jose Alvarado didn't have it. He got himself into trouble, and Joe Girardi just refused to get him out of the ballgame. I don't understand how Joe Girardi, who caught at the major league level, has managed multiple teams before coming to Philadelphia, has such a lack of a grasp on when to bring in and when to pull out pitchers from the bullpen. Would I have kept Zach Wheeler in longer? Probably not, but it's possible. Would I have pulled Jose Alvarado sooner? Absolutely. He hung Jose Alvarado out to dry. And honestly, yeah, part of it is the pitcher's fault, but more of it falls on Joe Girardi for not helping his player out of a situation where he should not have been pitching any longer. And frankly, it's just a mismanagement of his players. And this is one of the biggest, even though they won, one of the biggest instances of why I believe Joe Girardi should not be managing this team much longer. That's just one man's opinion. It clearly seems like, well, the management of this team is okay with him still managing this team, or he would be gone. But for me, just another tally in the column of, man, dude, this guy is not good at managing in-game situations. But hey, they got away with it. They got the win. They're 1-0 in the series. And now on the road trip, after taking 2 of 3 from the Seattle Mariners, well, they've got 3 wins and just 1 loss so far on the West Coast trip. Not a bad trip. And they got a break in game 2. It's a huge break, and it deals with the starting pitching matchup. I'll tell you about all of that and why the Phillies could now be favored in tonight's ballgame, and one that they looked like they were going to have to concede. Not easily concede, but that they were going to be at a disadvantage. I'll tell you all about that in the next segment on today's Locked On Phillies. First, though, I want to tell you about our friends over at Built Bar. Oh my God. Imagine dipping your finger into that plastic tub of birthday cake frosting. Doesn't that sound amazing? And then opening your eyes and realizing, whoa, that was only 150 calories and 16 grams of protein? Are you kidding me? That is what it is like to eat a birthday cake puff from Built Bar. I just received my birthday cake puffs. They taste amazing. It literally tastes like you're eating a birthday cake. My birthday isn't until October, and it feels like I'm celebrating every day, and it is great for my body. It is great to help me get in shape for summer. It's awesome. And wow, we can't promise that they're going to be there tomorrow. Like, they go so fast. You know how excited I am about eating them? You just heard how much I like them. Well, so is everybody else who's ordering these, and they're going to order more. So make sure you hurry over to built.com and take advantage of the birthday cake puffs and all of the other great products at Built Bar. If you haven't tried puffs, man, they're so good. They're a chocolate-covered marshmallow protein bar. Yeah, that's right. They taste amazing. Plus, they have the regular bars that are just a great snack to take with you on the go this summer. Everything that Built Bar puts out is great. That's because they make it taste great first and figure out the rest next. It's a great treat to help you get in shape. And the best part, I can get you a little discount. If you just go to built.com, use promo code LOCK15, and you can get 15% off your order. That's promo code LOCK15 for 15% off at built.com. Okay, so I misspoke a little bit as we were getting ready for this next segment. It's not actually game 2 where the Philadelphia Phillies get the advantage. It looks like it's going to end up being game 3. But the bottom line is what we're talking about. Well, the Phillies already took 1 game in this series, and now they get a break for later in the series. If they take 2, we will take a split against the Los Angeles Dodgers on the road in their place. Well, it looks like that's very possible because as of today, Clayton Kershaw was placed on the injured list. He goes on the IL with right SI joint inflammation. I don't know what the SI joint is. I'm going to be perfectly honest with you. Here's what I know it means. Well, now the Dodgers had to recall left-hand pitcher Garrett Clevenger from the minor leagues to come up and start. It looks like it'll be game 3. So it'll be Clevenger against Ranger Suarez, if it does indeed work out that way, in place of Clayton Kershaw. Kershaw had been dominant so far this year. He was 4-0 with a 1.8 ERA, 32 strikeouts, and only 3 walks. He was having an incredible start to the season, but unfortunately for the Dodgers, now it looks like he's unavailable. Well, looks like he is unavailable for this series. So the Philadelphia Phillies dodge a bullet there, and now they get to face a minor league arm with a great chance to take advantage of that game. I initially thought it was tonight. That's on me. Tonight's pitching matchup is still Kyle Gibson against Walker Buehler. But now, well, the Phillies have an opportunity against, not Clayton Kershaw, but Garrett Clevenger. And I already told you in yesterday's episode, I think Aaron Nola has the edge over Julio Urias in the final game of this series. So, hey, 3 games, including the one last night that the Phillies ended up winning, that I like the Phillies pitching matchups in. I'll take that every day. And it sounds like a recipe for the Phillies to at least split. So it's a big break for the Philadelphia Phillies not having to face Clayton Kershaw, who you could argue has been the Dodgers' best pitcher to this point. Now, tonight, they are going to get Walker Buehler. Walker Buehler is, well, he wasn't the reigning Cy Young winner, but he is one of the favorites to win the award this year. He was in the conversation last year, and all he's done so far to start out the season is a 4-1 ERA, or 4-1 ERA, 4-1 record with a 1.96 ERA, 2 Ks, and a 1.06 WHIP. He's been unbelievable. He's pitched very well. strong right-handed arm. And, well, while the Phillies hit right-handers well, it doesn't exactly bode well for them tonight with that on the opposing mound. That's an intimidating stat line from a pitcher who's capable of that every time he toes the rubber. The way the Phillies are going to beat him, well, Kyle Gibson needs to be unbelievable. And I mean, he's kind of fallen off a little bit. I was trying to think how many starts he's been unbelievable in a row. He just needs to be unbelievable. Well, who cares what's happened in the past? We need Kyle Gibson to be very, very good tonight against a lineup that, even though they were struggling, took advantage of the Philadelphia Phillies bullpen last night. And we need Kyle Gibson to go deep because clearly when you get to that bullpen, you can't trust Joe Girardi to manage them properly, and you can't trust a lot of the arms to come out and take care of business. So our focus is on the starter. That's just a temporary thing as far as trusting the bullpen. I do think they have some strong arms in the bullpen, and I think they've shown that so far this year. But right now, well, it looks like the Dodgers keyed on some of those guys last night, and I'd rather see Gibson get the work done early than have to worry about a strong 7th, 8th, and 9th inning out of the pen. We'll probably still need that to win, but that's where I stand on Game 2 and everything there. And for the Phillies, well, you got a couple guys who are on fire right now. Bryce Harper with a home run, Gene Segura with a 10-game hitting streak. I think actually 11. I'm trying to remember what he pushed it up to. But a double-digit hitting streak, and some other guys heating up after what happened in last night's game. Nick Castellanos went over, but he had been playing very well and hit very well in that Seattle series. Kyle Schwarber has got to be due to heat up at some point. Rhys Hoskins heading in the right direction. And you're looking at a lineup that, I mean, with the numbers matched up, you look at the names, and Mookie Betts, Cody Bellinger, and Freddie Freeman, well, they kind of dwarf everybody outside of Bryce Harper for the Philadelphia Phillies. But you look at the numbers, and this Phillies lineup is comparable, if not better, than what the Dodgers have been so far this year. So they have a chance. And if they can steal this one, well, they can go for the series win against a guy not named Kershaw tomorrow. I will take that every single darn day. So that's what's at stake. Go get yourself a series split tonight, and then go ahead and try for the series win tomorrow. But you can't get there without taking care of business against Walker Buehler. You could also argue, there's a couple guys you could argue are the Dodgers. I almost said the 49ers. I don't know why. Are the Dodgers' best arms? Well, tonight you're going to see one of those guys with Walker Buehler. And if the Phillies can go hang some on him early, just like they did with Tyler Anderson last night, it would be a fun late Friday night. And the good news is, hey, we're going to stay up Friday night. You know, watch it. You don't have to worry about work tomorrow if you don't work Saturdays. So stay up late, catch the Phils, see what we all got to see last night if you stayed up for it, a very exciting first game of this series. And if you didn't hear or didn't watch it, you can hear my Locked On Now immediate reaction to it at like 1:30 a.m. last night, maybe even later than that. I was exhausted, but I still put it out there because for the Locked On Network, we put out these Locked On Nows that are immediate reactions from our hosts about the happenings with our teams. It's wholly unique. You can't find any other media outlet or any other group anywhere that covers baseball like we do with the Locked On Nows, and we put it all together on the Locked On Now podcast. I want to thank you, as always, for making Locked On Phillies your first listen every day. Now make the Locked On Now podcast another listen of yours so you can hear immediate reactions from our hosts to breaking news, wins, losses, and everything in between. Check it out because Locked On Network is available wherever you get your podcasts, but very unique in the way they cover teams. In the final segment of today's episode, we're going to have Off the Pole. It's Friday. We're heading into the weekend, and I need you to play soothsayer. I need you to be Nostradamus. I need you to predict what's going on. I'm putting you to the test because before on Off the Pole, we've only so far done opinions. I'm kind of tired of the opinions. We go back and forth, but we agree a lot on our opinions. I want you to go ahead and put your money where your mouth is. Listener, tell me what's going to happen. Uh-oh. I don't want to give it away. You'll have to stick past the break to find out exactly what Off the Pole is. This episode's also brought to you by Bet Online. Our partners at Bet Online continue to be the number one source for all of your betting needs and sports info. Find all of the latest odds, news, and sports developments, including this year's basketball playoffs, Major League Baseball scores, fights, and even next season's NFL futures. Bet Online is your continued source for all your sporting wagering information, from live betting to playoffs to esports and more. I don't really want to talk about the basketball playoffs because of what happened last night with the Sixers. But hey, the Phillies, maybe they'll start streaking and keep us afloat throughout the summer. You can bet on all of it over at Bet Online. So head to the website today or use your mobile device to learn more about the trends in action. Bet Online, it's where the game starts. All right, let's wrap up here with Off the Poll for the weekend. So, Off the Poll, if you're not familiar with the segment, well, I give you a poll question. Get it? Poll. And off the poll, like hitting a home run off of the foul pole. That's because I think this segment's a home run. I haven't made that corny joke in a minute. So, if you've just joined us listening to Locked On Phillies, welcome. And yeah, my sense of humor, that's what you're going to get. But anyway, as we get into it, we post these poll questions on our Twitter accounts. I retweet it from mine at Connor Thomas 975. You can also see it on our podcast account at LO_Phillies. So our off the poll question for today, we're going to pose the question. And then on Monday's episode, what I'm going to do is I'm going to react to what you said. And normally what I do is I react and I give my opinion. But this one, not going to have a chance to give my opinion because I'm asking you to predict. I'm asking you to look into the crystal ball. Okay, that's just a regular baseball. Do we have a crystal ball? Anyone? No? Okay. Well, we'll work on getting one of those. But I need you to look into your crystal ball because I'm not the one predicting. And tell me right now, do the Philadelphia Phillies win this series against the Los Angeles Dodgers? As soon as this episode comes out this Friday evening, I'm going to go ahead and post that on Twitter. It's going to run only until Sunday, so you can't just wait and cheat and pick yes and feel good about yourself. No, I need a prediction from you. Will the Philadelphia Phillies win this series? And I'm very interested. I'm going to check in on Monday on your responses and see how many people predicted it right, what percentage of people got the guess right. And then I'm going to extrapolate. I'm going to expound on my thoughts on why you picked what you did and why we were either right or wrong as a collective, because I'm going to be honest. I'm going to post it from Locked On Phillies account on Twitter. I'm going to vote on it from at Connor Thomas 975. So I'm going to be in the same boat with all of you out there. I've got to make a prediction. That's a fun little twist on this week's this week's Off the Poll. So we'll have the thrilling conclusion, like a cliffhanger in a movie or a TV show, on Monday's episode. That's all I've got for you today. That's all I've got for you for today. Wow, you can tell it's been a long week because I've forgotten how to talk. That's it. We've got a big game tonight for the Phillies to take a chance to earn the split against the Dodgers in just the first two games. We'll take a look at that one tonight with Kyle Gibson facing off against Walker Buehler. And hopefully I'll have a fun show to do for you tomorrow morning on Saturday following another Phillies win. But we'll see. We'll keep it zoned in on that and see how the Phillies perform tonight. I want to thank you again for making Locked On Phillies your first listen every day. Now make your second listen Locked On MLB. Paul Francis Sullivan, Sully, the baseball encyclopedia. He knows the history of the game. He's a student of history, and he also covers the modern game like no one else can. It's available wherever you get your podcasts. So check out Locked On MLB. And thank you for subscribing, rating, reviewing, following everything you do to help out Locked On Phillies. I do really appreciate it. And please continue to do that. Spread the word for the best daily Philadelphia Phillies content on the planet. It's right here. It's Locked On Phillies. It's your host, Connor Thomas. Happy to be with you every day. And I will talk to you again tomorrow.